Welcome back. We talked about the body. Now we're going to talk about the mind. We're here with Dr. Amanda from Stanley Psychology. So, hi, how are you today?
I'm doing so well.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
Great. I'm so glad you're here.
Yes. Well, we are so honored to be having our own section here. Yes,
right?
event here.
It's so important to talk about our mental health.
Yes, absolutely. And this is our very first Talk It Out with Stanley Psychology. So you'll see me and my team recurring each week here to talk about different mental health topics.
Right? That's wonderful.
Yes.
It's so great that that's part of the conversation now, mental health aspect, because for years, forever, it was just something we just don't talk about
it,
right?
Absolutely. And so yes, I love that too. And for today, since it's our first segment, I thought it would be a really good idea to talk about foundational mental health. So some of the most important things we need to be thinking about daily, kind of our non-negotiables, to make sure we put ourselves in the best place for success with mental health.
And I just call it balance, right?
Yes,
just trying to find balance.
I love that. And that balance term is so interesting because I hear people say all the time, I'm striving for that balance, striving for the balance. People may never actually feel like they achieve that balance, but it's the striving that's important, right? Trying to find it.
Right. I feel like it's like, a teeter-totter, right?
Yes.
It's like if you work too much, then you get off balance this way and things fall out of place.
Absolutely.
And you start to feel yourself less healthy, right?
Absolutely.
Not optimal health.
Absolutely. So then talking about kind of back to basics, getting to those foundations. How I like to explain it is that if we have a cracked foundation, it is really hard to have good mental health, right?
Right, it is.
Now, the trick is that an intact foundation doesn't guarantee great mental health.
No,
right? But that cracked foundation makes it really difficult. And the foundational pieces of mental health, I like to describe 3 different ones.
Okay.
So we have eating decently, moving our body,
Yes.
and prioritizing sleep.
Right, absolutely.
And I purposefully don't use the terms diet and exercise because they can be loaded for a lot of people.
No, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right. But let's just start kind of going over the eating decently, right?
I like it.
Now,
I like it.
eating decently does not mean I need to follow some sort of strict.
No.
And in fact, that can get too obsessive. That can be bad for our mental health, right? We just need, again, that balance word, right? Being able to fuel our body in ways that feels good.
And I love what you said, the fuel,
Yes.
right? Because you need basic, it's like you can't drive your car if you don't have gas in it.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
If you put bad gas in your car, guess what? It's not gonna drive well.
Bingo.
So you have to nourish your body.
Absolutely. And with that, when I talk about it, sometimes, I'll get a little pushback or people will ask, well, what's your diet like? Or what do you eat and all the things? And don't get me wrong, y'all. Sometimes I want a plate of nachos too, and I'm going to eat it, right?
Absolutely.
That is okay.
I've got like an 80-20.
I love that.
I like 80-20 because I have to have a cheeseburger.
Yes.
I have to have the nachos.
Yes.
But protein. We have to have protein, and when you eat a lot of processed food, you don't get protein.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's that whole food, that all the colors of the rainbow. And
Love
if you're
that.
doing that, it's going to support your well-being.
Yes, absolutely. And then we go to moving our body, right?
Moving your body.
For a lot of people, the thought of going in and having an hour-long gym session or something, it's too overwhelming.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And if you tell yourself you're going to do it, but you haven't been doing it, you're probably not going to do it. And then you're going to feel worse about not doing it.
The guilt.
And then the guilt. And it spirals, right? And so with moving your body, sometimes that might mean what I have in me for the day to do that is that I'm going to sit on the floor and stretch while I'm watching my TV show or whatever that might be, right? You've got to meet yourself where you're at, but know what? After you do that, you start to feel a bit better, right? And that action can help create motivation to keep going, right? Because it felt good yesterday, so I'm going to do it again today.
Just a little bit, just 10. Actually, I know the yoga teacher, right?
Yes.
You don't have to do yoga, but just 10 minutes of yoga has been shown to, if you do it daily, it creates a great change in the body.
Absolutely.
And that could be walking.
Bingo.
Right?
Anything.
It could be sitting on the floor stretching.
Yes.
It could be really anything that moves your body.
And I want y'all at home to be thinking that you can talk yourself into doing just about anything for 10 minutes. That's
anything
it.
for 10 minutes.
Anything for 10 minutes.
Anything for 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
And just one more thing before we went to the break. I heard and I've seen sometimes it's just sweeping the floor.
Love that.
Right?
It's
it can
activity.
Be as easy as sweeping the floor.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go to a break, and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back. So, Dr. Amanda, go ahead. You were talking about the basics that we need for good mental health.
Absolutely, those foundations. And so
Yes.
we reviewed eating decently. We reviewed moving our body. Had some great ideas for that too. Yes. And now I want to talk about sleep, prioritizing sleep for a few moments, right?
Okay.
In this world that's always always busy, right? There's always more to do, whether that's for work, for things at home, for family life. There's always more to do and more to do. And unfortunately, what happens to a lot of people is that by the time you get to unwind at night, you almost feel like, I need a little me time. And so it's the scrolling on the phone, it's the watching TV, all of those
It's
things.
one more episode.
Yes, exactly, which then impacts our sleep because we're not getting to bed at a good time and not able to prioritize that sleep. And so we really need to be mindful that sleep impacts everything. I mean, it impacts mental health, physical health, it impacts our mood, irritability, all of those things. And too often it gets sacrificed. And we regret it in the morning when it happens, right?
And you know what else? If we don't set ourselves up for success, then we can't sleep.
Right.
And then you stress out about, I'm not asleep. Oh no.
Yes.
Now I can't sleep because I'm stressed about not getting sleep.
Exactly. And then it's that cycle, right? Because when we lay down to sleep, if we're then feeling bad about not getting enough sleep, our mind is active. It's not, when we're going to sleep, head on the pillow, we're left to our own mind, right? And we tend to go negative. We tend to stress,
oh my goodness.
Right? And so then that just makes us more alert and makes it more difficult. And so it is so important to not only prioritize the amount of sleep, putting up those phones, turning off that TV, not falling into that one more episode trap, just to make sure that we give ourselves a chance at success with that.
Right.
And for next week's topic, we're actually going to talk about sleep hygiene, sleep strategies a little bit more.
That's great.
To help to foster that.
That's like not having a lot of caffeine to keep you awake.
Yes,
right?
so many things.
Right.
Yes.
And so those are such great tips, great information.
Yes.
And so where is your office located? Let's just talk about that.
So we are actually right behind us here. So
you are?
Yes. So we're in downtown Mansfield. We're in a converted house.
And it's a lovely house.
Yes,
and we just walked there the other day, from Main Street here.
Yes.
So, it's great having you so close.
Absolutely.
And we're talking about the foundational principles to get better sleep. But you had a report card?
Yes, absolutely. And so what I want y'all to think about at home is I want y'all to think about what grade would I be giving myself, right?
Wonderful,
For how's my eating? How is my moving my body? How is my sleep, right? Am I getting an A today?
Do I get an A today?
Yes.
Or is it an F?
Right, exactly. And sometimes it might be an F. And it's important to be really honest with yourselves, right? Because we want to know where we're at to know how we are progressing, right? How to make that change. And some days it might be an F. Some days mine's an F, right?
And that's so true with myself. I strive for an A, but let's face it, it's not always going to be an A. No. And sometimes we need a break. We need a day off. But what I find really important in my life is just to have grace with myself on the days that I don't live up to my own expectations.
Absolutely.
Because we can be the hardest on ourselves.
Right. And when we're so hard on ourselves, that's that cycle. So tomorrow we're not going to feel like doing it even more, right? So take it for the day, it was an F today. Let me try for a C tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I can do a little bit tomorrow, just having that awareness.
Yes,
awareness
absolutely.
of what do I need?
Yes.
Because when you do meet your foundational needs, right? You get sleep, you move your body, you're eating well most of the time. Right? You do notice a shift in your energy level and really your mental health. You start to feel a little better.
Absolutely.
But in case you need a little help, it's always important to reach out to someone for help.
Absolutely.
Do you have any places that we could reach out if we needed help, if someone needed a little extra help?
Absolutely, absolutely. So you are always welcome to contact our office, and we keep referrals. So if you want to, have
Awesome.
somewhere else to go, it's not that you have to come to our office or see our providers. When you're reaching out for help, it's such a personal decision, and that matches everything. But our goal is that you get the help you need. And if that's with us, that's great. But if it's not with us, we still want to help you with those resources.
I like that. And I know another thing you have, what is the term for your people that are in, they're going to school and they're...
Yes, the practicum student interns,
Practicum
yes.
students. So you could have some help with a little bit of a discount on prices.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
we don't always have the insurance that's going to cover the mental health. So just having maybe a place to reach out to that you could get more information and possibly get a little help at Stanley Psychology. .com, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go to a break, and thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to having you on the show more often.
Yes, thank you.
We'll be back.